Good morning, students. Today in this video we are going to see the continuation of the reproduction in animals lesson from standard 8 NCERT and foundation NEET syllabus. Already I have posted part 1 video. I hope you have understood. This is the continuation of the part 1 video. So till male reproductive system we have seen in the part 1 video, right? So today we are going to continue the next one. We'll start with the female reproductive organ. So here you are seeing the very detailed picture of the female reproductive organ. First you need to see the structures. So what are the parts present here? So two ovaries are present. Okay, two ovaries are present, and the ovaries has been connected with the fallopian tube, or also called as oviduct. Okay, so the eggs will be produced in the ovary, and then the eggs will reach the fallopian tube and it will wait for the fertilization. So after fertilization, then the further development of the embryo will happen. Anyhow, we are going to see everything in detail. Just you know the parts of the female reproductive organ and its uses here. And then the uterus and cervix and the vagina. So this is the parts of the female reproductive organ. Okay, coming to the female reproductive organ, first ovaries. So ovaries, how many ovaries we have seen? We have seen two ovaries, that is a pair of ovaries. Where it is situated? It is situated in the lower part of the abdominal cavity, and every ovary contains thousands of eggs. The egg is called as ovum. Okay, so the egg is called as ovum, and only one egg is released every month. Okay, so from each of the two ovary, not both ovary will release, any one of the ovary will release only one egg every month. Okay, so it is not like the sperm. So we have seen in the sperm there are millions of sperms are released, but here the only one egg is released, and the one egg is made is also called as the single cell, unicell. Okay, so it is also a single cell, not like the sperm. Okay, so it is much bigger than the sperm also compared to the size, and it is not motile. Okay, so it won't move. Okay, but it contains different materials like yolk, glycogen, proteins, all this that has been present in the cytoplasm of that egg single cell. So we can consider the ovaries as the primary sex organs, and the ovaries are responsible for the production of the female sex hormones and the ovum. So ovum, ova, okay, both are same, egg, that is. Okay, so the primary sex organs of the female, if they ask, you have to answer it is ovary. And what is the role of ovary? To produce the sex organs and the ovum. Okay, coming to oviducts and fallopian tubes, which you have seen in the given diagram. So the fallopian tubes are very thin and coiled and muscular tube which joins the ovaries and the uterus. The purpose of the fallopian tubes is to carry the egg from the ovary and join it with the uterus after fertilization for the implantment of the fertilized egg, that is the embryo, which will further divide and become. Okay, so here you are seeing the human ovum, which contains the nucleus. Okay, so and remaining, as we discussed earlier, the glycogen, protein, all this and all will be accumulated in this cytoplasm area. So now the fallopian tubes which connects the ovary to the uterus, and it is also the site for the fertilization. These 2 points you need to remember. And the oviduct consists of 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? Is infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, and uterine part. So these are the 4 parts of the oviduct, that is the fallopian tube. Now coming to the uterus, also called as womb. It is a pear-shaped organ, broad pear-shaped muscular chamber where the fertilized ovum will go and implant, and further development of the fetus, that is the baby, will happen in the uterus. Okay, so it is considered as the site for implantation of the embryo, and later it will lead to the fetal development. So it has two regions. One is the upper wider portion which receives the two oviducts, that is the fallopian tubes, and the lower part is constricted part, we call it as the cervix. Okay, so you might have seen a structure like this. So this part we call it as the cervix. Okay. Okay, now coming to vagina, the uh, last part of the female reproductive organ, so which opens into a wide muscular tube, the uterus, is called as the vagina, and that is the part where the uterus will receive the sperm. Okay, after the intercourse. Okay, so now few points you need to remember, that is what we have highlighted here as the computation window. So see here, the size of the eggs in animals varies, right? So we cannot say all the eggs sizes are small. It may be larger or it may be smaller. The very largest egg we consider as the ostrich egg, and very small is in the human. Okay, so compared to the hen's egg, human eggs are smaller, right? Okay, so every ovary is also connected by a ligament to the uterus. So, and is composed of ovarian follicles at various stage of the development. So these are few points you need to remember. And the follicles contain, which is the fallopian tube, no? So fallopian tube which connects the uterus, like this the follicles contains the large ovum surrounded by many layers of follicle cells. So when we consider female accessory glands, vestibular glands, these are the two types of glands you can see in the female organ. Okay, so two kinds of glands, female accessory glands and vestibular glands. So female accessory glands and vestibular glands, what its role? So see that the vestibular glands, also called as paraurethral glands. Okay, so it contains various, that is n number of numerous n number of minute glands that are present on either side of the urethral opening. Okay, so the vestibular glands are those which contains minute glands that is present in either side of the urethral opening. Okay, so what is the role of these glands? Or to secrete the mucus. It is similar to the male prostate. So we have seen male prostate part, right? So the same work it will do, it secretes the mucus. And it is also called as the greater vestibular glands, Bartholin's gland, which is situated on either side of the vaginal orifice and are homologous to Cowper's glands of the male. So these two are some extra points you need to remember. And it secretes a thick viscoid and alkaline for lubrication during the copulation and counteracting urinary acidity. So copulation is nothing but the sexual intercourse. So during that time, for the lubrication, this gland only secretes a thick viscoid and alkaline kind of lubrication. Okay, now coming to the fertilization part. So this we discussed already. For the fertilization we need one male gamete and one female gamete. So male gamete is the sperm and female gamete is the ovum. So you can see it is given very clearly in the fertilization diagram here. So the oviduct, when the sperms are received, okay, so it meets the ovum and the fusion of the ovum and the sperm takes place as mentioned here in the picture. Only one sperm can enter into the ovum. Okay, So then it will fuse with the nucleus of the ovum, and they form a single nucleus now after the fusion. So thus it is called as the fertilized egg after the fusion, fertilized egg or zygote. So now the zygote which has formed, we can consider it as the first stage of a new fetal form. So this zygote only going to divide and develop into a embryo, and also going to become a new individual, new baby. Okay, so this zygote result in the fusion of the sperm cell from the father and egg from the mother. The chromosomes and the genes from both the mother and the father also present here. So this is why the new individual inherits the characteristics of both mother and the father. So now we will learn few of the terms and its meaning. Copulation, already I have said, it is called as mating, that is the sexual intercourse, and the ejaculation is nothing but the male reproductive organ which contains the which produces the sperm along with the seminal vesicle and the fluid, we call it as the semen. So that will eject out of the male reproductive genital tract. So that is called as the release of sperms inside the genital tract of the into the female, or as it is. Okay, that is called as ejaculation. And coming to the semen, during the ejaculation, of which about 10% are sperms. Okay, and that 10% of sperm in the ejaculated fluid, there are millions of sperms present. The sperms are deposited at the top of the vagina close to the cervix of uterus, and the sperms are very active and motile because of the presence of the tail part. But egg is not motile, it is non-motile. Okay, it will be present in the fallopian tube alone. They travel from here, where from the cervix to the fallopian tube, and within 5 minutes it will travel, and there they spend several hours because they need some chemical changes. Then from the millions of sperm, only one sperm will go and fuse with the ovum which is present in the fallopian tube. Okay, so this is called as the after fertilization, the formation of the zygote, which is called as the conception, that is the fusion of the male and the female gametes, which leads to the formation of zygote. So now the embryonic development begins in the fallopian tube. This is what we call it as the first stage of pregnancy. So few illustrations I have given here. See here, which is the primary sex organ in a human. So that is in male it is testis, and in female it is ovary. What are the three parts of the sperm? Head, middle piece and tail. And which of the following marks the beginning of new individual in human? Zygote. Okay, now we'll see the development of the embryo. So now we have seen that the how the zygote is formed, right? So after the formation of zygote, what happens to the zygote? So this is the fertilized egg, that is the zygote. So the zygote travels down to the oviduct, that is from the fallopian tube, and it will start dividing by successive nuclear and cell division, which result in the formation of multicellular ball of cells. The process we call it as the cleavage, and first 2 cell stage, next 4 cell stage, next 8 cell and 16 cell. So this embryo, no, so which is multicellular embryo formed as a result of cleavage, now end up with the last stage, that is the blastocyte. So now this blastocytes which is present in the fallopian tube will reach the uterus, and they will get embedded in the wall of the uterus like this. This is called as the implantation. So further the development of the embryo will takes place. This implantation of the embryo only we call it as the pregnancy. So this time only if they test for the pregnancy, it will give positive result. And after attachment of the embryo to this uterus wall, a new structure called placenta that will grow from the uterus wall, and it will be reaching the embryo, which is going to be the future baby, and it will connect the baby through the umbilical cord. Okay, so from placenta and umbilical cord, the nutrition, water and oxygen from the mother, it will pass to the baby. So now we can consider the gestation period, which is the completion of the full period from the conception to the birth, that is called as gestation period, which is around 40 weeks, and in months it is 9 months. Okay, so the vigorous contraction of the uterus walls, and that will result in the delivery, that will expel the fetus from the uterus. So this is called as parturition. Parturition is nothing but the end of the gestation period, which will give the young one from the mother's uterus. Okay, now you need to know the implanted embryo, that is the blastocyst, and its structure. So it has 3 layers, which we call it as the embryonic layers: ectoderm outer layer, mesoderm middle layer, and endoderm inner layer. Okay, so this is what the layers present in the embryo, and this only gives the successive development of the young fetus from the blastocyst. Okay, the first organ which is developing in the fetus is the neural tube and the spinal cord, and these organs begin to develop in 3rd week. So as we see in the umbilical cord, right, so that will develop by the 4th week. So 3rd week neural tube and spinal cord will develop, 4th week umbilical cord will develop. Okay, so this is very much needed, because this only helps the connection between the mother and the baby. Okay, and just we will know about the other methods of conception, that is people who are sterile, that is they cannot produce a baby of their own, so they have to undergo few technical methods, that is called, we call it as the test tube baby, IVF method, in vitro fertilization method. So IVF we call it as, also called as the test tube baby method in common by the common people. So the placenta is the one which will help the fetus to get the nutrition and also to respire, and it also function as the excretory organ of the fetus. So we have completed with the human reproductive organ and its function, and how the reproduction takes place in human beings. Now we will see about the development in birds. So development in birds is quite different from the human beings, because birds are mostly oviparous, that is egg layers. So it is also a internal fertilization, where the initial development of the embryo takes place inside the female body only. After the formation of zygote, they will divide repeatedly and travel the oviduct and form the embryo. Now here the embryo has contained largest yolk and some protective coverings around the yolk, that is what the shell we have seen. So that will protect the embryo, which is laid out as a egg, and over the egg the hen will be, I am talking about hen only, and we will talk about the other animals also. So the hen will be giving a warmth over the egg, that will be called as the incubation period, and then it will make the young ones to hatch out from the egg, that is possibly nearly 14 to 15 days the chick will come out. Okay, this is how they are producing their young ones. Okay, so the white color hard shell only protecting the yolk, which is having the chick inside the eggs. Okay, so this what I have said, no, they will give a sufficient warmth to the egg to develop by sitting over it. That is called as brooding. Okay, so now we'll see the another kind of reproduction, that is called as metamorphosis. Metamorphosis kind of life cycle you can see in frog and other kind of aquatic animals also, amphibians like frog. So metamorphosis is nothing but it should contain three stages, that is the egg, tadpole or larvae, and from the tadpole young ones will come, then it will develop into a adult frog. So these three stages it should contain. That kind of life cycle we call it as the metamorphosis life cycle. But these organisms are very different from the human beings. They in human beings, in humans and all other viviparous, that is the young one giving organisms, the newborn baby will resemble its parents, right? But here the oviparous animals like silkworm, butterfly, frog, all the young ones that hatch out from the eggs, and they look different from the adult. Okay, so that is what the first stage we see as the larvae or tadpole. Okay, and the tadpole is the one which hatched out into larvae after the embryo development. So what are the stages here? We have egg, next tadpole also called as larvae, then the adult will develop from the larvae as shown in the given picture. So the butterfly development life cycle of butterfly is also similar, but instead we have from the egg we have the caterpillar larvae, then it will enter pupa stage, then from the pupa stage only the butterfly will emerge. So this is the quite difference between the frog and the butterfly life cycle. Okay, that's all. We have completed this lesson. If you have any doubt, you can write the questions in the comment box. Thank you, children. Bye.